If you are one of the travelers whose flight was canceled due to crippling blizzard conditions, you are not alone. More than 9,000 flights were canceled because of the storm. And as of yesterday, JFK LaGuardia had the highest number of cancellations, followed by Boston Logan, Newark, and Philadelphia International Airport.
Well, giving us some tips on how to rebook your flight, get your money back, or just simply how to navigate this travel mess. The points guy, travel expert, Clint Henderson. Hi, Clint. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm about to head to the airport, so wish me luck flying out of Newark today.
Oh, Godspeed. Good luck. So many flights canceled yesterday. What did you do? What's the first thing that people should do? And kind of what's the state of travel right now?
Yeah, so if you see a major storm like that, when you're scheduled to travel, don't even bother going to the airport. You know, remember that you have rights as a passenger. If the airline cancels your flight or it's substantially delayed, and you decide not to take the trip, you are entitled to a speedy refund to your original form of payment. So keep that in mind, but that's only if you don't travel. So if you take their rebooking option, then you're not entitled to any compensation. And in fact, because it's considered an act of God, the airlines are kind of off the hook for hotels and Ubers and food and beverage those expenses you might rack up. So save your receipts. It never hurts to ask, but in general, you don't have that many rights in situations like this.
But Clint, you say that some airlines rolled out weather waivers. What exactly are they? Is it a, hey, you can stay at our hotel, or hey, you can get a free ginger ale at the bar?
Yeah, in general, with weather, they won't do any kind of vouchers or anything, but sometimes they will if you ask nicely. What happens with the weather waiver, though, is they will allow you to rebook. So say you see a storm coming on Wednesday. When there's a weather waiver in place, the airline will allow you to rebook for, say, today or the day after the storm without any change ticket price fee or any change in the fare class fee. So they will allow you to rebook. And sometimes they'll even put you on a competitor airline, but you have to ask. And I like to have a backup plan in mind so I can actually spoon feed the agent. Like, hey, I know my United flight's canceled, but put me on the American flight that's leaving here. It's flight number XX, whatever it is. So you got to go into these situations with sort of a backup plan, and an informed consumer is so important right now.
Yeah, so you have to do a little research before you go up to the ticket counter there.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, should you try to get out as soon as possible or book a flight later in the week?
Yeah, my best advice is to try to get out ahead of the storm in a situation like this, because remember, all those canceled flights, all those people are trying to be accommodated. For example, to Newark, they're offering up to $600 to take a later flight because they've got so many people backed up trying to get on this flight. So you're better off going beforehand or waiting a couple days till after the storm. Because remember, this is a ballet. The airlines are trying to get crews and planes into position in maybe a third airport. And so it's really complicated situation, and it takes a couple days for them to work it out. They have gotten better. I will give them credit for that.
It's like a ballet. I am going to be thinking of Tchaikovsky the next time I am on the tarmac, Clint. Okay, so what rights do passengers have if their flight is or was canceled because of weather? Because you said it is an act of God. Yeah,
so the passengers have very few rights. You are entitled to a refund if you don't take that flight, but other than that, the airlines are kind of like, sorry, it's an act of God, there's nothing we can do. If the flight goes mechanical, if it's a mechanical issue with the plane, that kicks in a bunch of other protections. So in that case, the airline will compensate you. And what I always say to people is, hey, save your receipts. You can always ask. They might not give you anything, but it never hurts to ask. And finally, book all travel with a credit card that comes with travel protection. So a lot of the premium cards come with trip delay and cancellation insurance. They'll reimburse you even if the airlines won't.
So we often see lingering delays, right? It's that snowball effect. How is this storm going to affect future travel in the next couple of weeks? Are we going to see those delays or cancellations?
So today is pretty bad again. They went ahead and preemptively canceled about half the flights leaving from the New York area airports, but it should get better starting this afternoon. It does take a few days, as I mentioned, that complicated ballet of getting crews back in place, planes back in place. So, I'm going to test this out myself with this flight this afternoon. We'll have to see. But, it's not like 2022 when we saw weeks-long delays from storms. Yeah. The airlines have gotten better, and so that's why I say I'll give them a little bit of credit.
Okay, the million-dollar question before we delay you trying to get your flight. What is the best way to reach customer service other than calling every family member and telling them to use a different mode of communication?
Well, that's one option. You know, I say use all the tools in the toolbox, run to the customer service rebooking line, but also reach out to them on social media. That's a big hack not everyone knows about. I have better luck direct messaging American Airlines, for example, on X than I do calling the 1-800 number.
But you're
the other
also the
hack,
points guy. Hello.
Verified, 1 million followers.
no, they're really good. The social media teams are generally good or better in situations like this where a mass meltdown. The other thing you can do is call the international phone number. So look for the phone number for American Airlines in Australia, because those phone lines are more likely to be clear than the ones here in the US.
I would never think of that.
That's why we invited him on the show.
Thanks, Clint.
Clint, thank you so much. Fantastic travel advice. Follow Clint on Instagram at ClintPage1, and good luck with your travels, sir.
Thank you.
Of course.